WLCN 90.
Good morning, sports fans. Welcome to the Cheap Seats on WLCN 96.3 FM. We're streaming live on YouTube, or you can listen to us on the go on the Mixlr app. We are in the quad today, Saturday morning, victory Saturday morning, as the Railers with a big victory over the Peoria Manual Rams on homecoming, 48-12. And joining us now is Coach Sokowski. Good morning, Coach.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and it's always easier on a Saturday morning after a victory. A lot of activities through the week. A big game last night for the Railers to get back in their winning ways, and they took care of business to an athletic Peoria Manual team, but pulled away there. I know it was kind of close first half. We go down and score a touchdown, and then they return a kickoff to get on the scoreboard, and our kids just locked it down from there.
Yeah, that's really what kind of what happened. Kind of slow start. We're undisciplined with a couple holding penalties and some really bad spots for us, and I got down to go up 14-0, and they returned that kick, and then then that was kind of a wake-up call, if you will. So we kind of just, started settling down, and, we were able to go down and score before the half there, which was huge. And then to get the ball coming out the half, and, message was go score here. You have to score here.
Yeah, Manual, a pretty quick team. You mentioned before we went on there that they had a little bit of size, but some of their key players went out, and you guys just took advantage of it and sealed the game.
Yeah, that was something in watching it last night when I was tagging everything and loading it up is, our kids were physical last night. They kind of were flying around, and they were really, gang tackling, and first guy there was holding up, and the next guy was coming in and just kind of really putting a lick on them. And, it's kind of the message that we, wanted to play more physical this week.
So what was your game plan going in? They're going to be, athletic. Just try to spread the field on them and just play your game.
And they were, give them a lot of credit. They play very tough. They play really hard. We kind of saw that on film as they really brought a lot of pressure, a lot of blitzing, and they played hard. They really did. Even despite they were 0-3, but they played really hard. And so we just ran the ball inside to kind of run away from their blitzers, and that opened up the stuff outside. And got a little bit going in the passing game last night, which was good. We just kind of took advantage of what they gave us, and we kind of challenged our guys up front, that we needed to match their physicality and their toughness, and we need to run the ball inside, and we challenged our backs to keep it inside. And Peyton, Colby, Keon, and Kanai, it's what they did all night.
Yeah, you talked about focus maybe wasn't there first quarter, going in the second. All the homecoming activities maybe have a little to do with that, or
you don't know. I mean, they're kids. Obviously they see the same stuff we do on film, and that's something we have to overcome, is kind of not looking down on our opponents and playing down their level. But when you play somebody that you feel you're better than, you got to really just hammer them from the beginning and put that thing away.
Right. And a big victory puts us at what, 3-2?
3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
Okay. So,
try to keep up.
Hey, it's hard to keep up. 3-1, and right back in that position. Obviously, have some tough games coming up with who we got next Friday.
We're at Southeast next
Southeast.
week.
That's a very winnable game.
So,
but coming off a big victory last night, now they'll have the homecoming dance tonight, and then you get settled back in and right back at it Monday.
Yeah, we're right back to work Monday. Next game up, and we'll watch film Monday afternoon as a team and learn from it, and coaches will work all weekend, put a plan together. We'll start implementing Monday and get rolling.
Any idea? Oh, go ahead.
As I say, Coach, you said I didn't get to see any of the game, but you got the passing game going last night a little bit.
Yeah. We threw for a little under 100 yards, but we were efficient and completed balls when we needed needed to.
That's good to see.
Darren made some good decisions with the ball. He actually ran the ball too. I mean, we had 450 yards of total offense last night, 360 something on the ground.
That's big numbers.
You know what was impressive I felt last night was, like you touched on, run the ball up the middle. Bunner and Colby had a couple good runs there too, going up the middle. And then the option play with the quarterback going up the middle was, I thought that those were in key spots too, a few of them. And then Bunner had that big one at the end where he drug, the entire city of Peoria into the end zone.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's kind of what I told him. Like, when we, run this kind of offense, you need a big fullback like him and Colby are, and it kind of makes that thing run. And there were multiple times last night where we ran one of our plays and he'd pick up 8 yards, and we'd line up and run it again. And we just kept, multiple times ran that same play 3 or 4 times in a row, and just kind of getting chunk yards with it. So
when you're expecting an outside run and then you see that bull go through the middle, that's kind of fun to see, man, up in the stands.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad Peyton's been kind of begging for the ball more and begging to get more involved, and it's kind of like you tell those guys, you just got to wait your turn. At some point your time's going to come and you got to take advantage of it, and it's exactly what Peyton did last night. Yeah, and it all depends what opportunities you have, what type of defense you're seeing, and then you can utilize that middle run. And we were getting movement up front, and we're just going to run behind those guys. So tell us a little about, I know it's still early, Southeast, I'm sure they're athletic, another Springfield team that, they're going to have some athletic kids, but, very beatable team. Yeah, they still haven't accepted our film exchange style, and we haven't had any common opponents yet, so I actually have not seen them yet. Okay. Outside of highlight videos on 1450. So I really don't know yet. I'm hoping by the time I get home that is done through huddle and can get back to work. But I actually really don't know anything about them right now.
They're winless, I think, still.
Yeah, they're 0-4. They lost to, I think they had SHG last night.
Well, let's run through a few scores because we're going to talk about that. Eisenhower 46-24 over Lanford.
Surprised by that.
I am too. I thought Lanford would have got those guys.
I did too, yeah.
And plus the points on the board. Holy cow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of points.
Yeah, that quarterback from Eisenhower, though, he was a good player. If he got, we did a really good job that night, containing him, but he was a good player.
And then Rochester, of course, 56-0 over Jayville, but they're going to roll up everybody.
Yeah, it's going to.
And I think the Jayville quarterback's hurt.
Yeah, I don't know
how. He set him last night.
Yeah, I don't know how long, what kind of injury. I know he's hurt. I saw that somewhere. I don't know if it's like a season injury or week to week. I'm not sure.
I think it's week to week, but the rumor I got was that, they were just going to sit him another week because you're playing Rochester and let him heal up. So, the score's the same probably either way.
We'll just set him for this one.
Glenwood 33-zip over Springfield High.
Yeah.
So that, Springfield's a solid team. You would think Chatham maybe puts a running clock on them.
Yeah, I haven't really seen Chatham either. I don't know. I haven't seen them.
SHG 42-zip over Southeast.
Yeah.
Which you'd expect, so you're not going to get much out of that film.
No. We'll look at the other ones.
And then the one surprise we talked about, U-High over MacArthur, 28-14.
Yeah, I said earlier, I think that was a 28-0 at one point.
Wow.
At some point we'll get that film too, and we'll see what happens.
So some of these scores have been so, you don't see it coming. Jacksonville beats MacArthur, and I thought that was an upset, couple weeks ago maybe.
Yeah.
And now. Yeah,
I haven't really looked that much into MacArthur because they're not on our schedule, so I don't really know much about them because I said we knew we weren't going to play them, so we haven't we didn't really do our homework preseason stuff and follow them throughout the summer or things like we do with some of our other opponents. But I'm sure they're always a good team, and I don't know.
Southeast over there, Southeast away this week.
We're at Southeast. Yeah.
Well, beatable team. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're ready to get back to work and put something together here and try to get it done Friday night.
What are we looking like on the injury front? I know we had a couple kids got a little banged up last night, but it doesn't sound like it's anything too serious.
No. Touch base at trainer Matt when I leave here with you guys like I usually do, and we'll kind of see where we're at. I know he was going to be in contact with some players this morning, and so we'll kind of see what he says, and follow his advice through the week like we always do. And he's great. He's a huge asset to our school.
Trainer Matt, I like that.
Yeah, that's what they call him. Yeah, he's a huge asset. He's great. really good at what he does, and have full confidence that he'll get our guys back and ready to go for Friday night.
Yeah, he loves being out there around the kids. That's a big deal.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Some people don't like their jobs. He loves it.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
Good guy to have out there.
So the game last night, Coach, big fan base. The stands were full. That's got to kind of, push the kids a little bit more, and it was great atmosphere.
Student section was a lot of kids there. Looked up at one point and felt like it went all the way to the back of the bleachers there. So it was awesome. Great environment. Field looked great.
Perfect
Jeff
night for
Jordan,
football.
that really good. Really happy. Cool what he did with the end zones and the 50-yard line with putting the Lincoln and the Railers in the L there. So it was really cool, and great night for football.
Well, let's talk, man. You got a big pep talk on Thursday, didn't you? Had Rob McDonald back in town.
We did, it was awesome. It was really cool. Rob reached out to me last fall, about what he can do to kind of help out and make sure that his family is staying involved in our program, and kind of touch base earlier this summer about he's going to come out for homecoming and wanted to give him the opportunity to come talk to our kids and hear from somebody that sat in their shoes, and it was really cool. He gave a great message. I think it really resonated with our kids, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Well, Coach, I know you want to get out to the school, check on your kids, and start preparing for next Friday as you travel to Southeast, and we look forward to seeing that outcome.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, Coach, thanks for taking some time this morning, and we'll talk to you next Saturday. We're going to take a commercial break. We come back, we'll have more here on the Cheap Seats on WLCN 96.3 FM.
If you're not happy with the way your home landscape looks, but not sure what you need to do or how to fix it, then it might be time to get a little help from your friends at Bees Landscaping. Their highly trained and courteous staff will do all the work that fits your style and budget, including retaining walls, patios, sidewalks, leveling and grading yards, seeding and fertilizing, or new sod installation. Bees Landscaping, 1302 State Route 10. We are making a difference.
The Heart of Memory Care consists of providing person-directed care to know and to work with each resident as an individual, and to provide them with care as unique as they are. At Copper Creek Cottages Memory Care in Lincoln, our caring, compassionate staff, enriching activities, and cottage front apartments all provide the secure, safe environment that your loved one requires. Hi, I'm Deb Mox, Administrator at Copper Creek Cottages. Let Copper Creek Cottages Memory Care be the light in your journey.
This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com.
Timber Creek Village Assisted Living understands the emotional journey of moving to a new home. That's why we work hard to make the transition as easy for you as possible. We currently have apartments available and invite you to come by and let us show you how we can provide you with a stress-free lifestyle and why Timber Creek Village is top choice for retirement living in Lincoln. You'll enjoy private apartments, 3 home-cooked meals a day, daily activities, socialization with other residents, and care centered around your individual needs. Timber Creek Village, where people become friends and friends become family.
This is Lauren Wallace, and you're listening to Cheap Seats with Joe, Jake, Jim, Lloyd, and Scott on 96.3 FM.
Welcome back to the Cheap Seats on WLCN 96.3 FM. We are in the quad, and joining us now is Rob McDonald. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us all the way from Murray, Kentucky. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, is your male modeling career over? Or
Yeah,
you still doing it?
I grew up in Lincoln. I love Lincoln, and came back for the homecoming festivities and a couple different things going on that I was able to take part in, and I just had a great weekend getting back to Lincoln, and it was great seeing the team play. Got to talk to them a little bit Thursday, and then what ended up also just being a highlight of the weekend was my dad coached here for about 30 years, I guess, and one of his teams, the 1973 team, which I know you guys got some of them coming in a little bit, they won the Big 12 championship, and this was the 50-year reunion and of that, and so like 30 guys made it back, and I just think that's amazing that these guys, when I talked to them Thursday night, I was like, you guys were my heroes, and I told them when I was 2, but actually I was like in 7th grade, but they were my heroes.
And you were running around on the field all the time.
Oh, gee, I was the coach's kid that was in everybody's hair, tormenting, aggravating, messing with the managers.
Playing in the dummies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Knocking dummies over, throwing balls at people, running up and smacking guys from behind, stuff like that. But, these guys were my heroes, and it was a great team, a great group of guys. But to think that they had 30 guys, I told them, you have 30 guys back, and these guys are pushing 70 years old now. And
they're popping in.
But I also told them that if you don't feel sufficiently old, being 68, 69, going on 70, well, little Robbie's 62, going on 63. So time flies. But that was one of the things I told the high school kids is like, golly, it's 50 years ago that these guys played, and 30 of them have come back for this. So, you talk about the pride of being from Lincoln and the pride of Lincoln football and all that. I mean, that's as good of an example as I can come up with.
Oh, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about your dad, because he coached here for how many years?
It was around 30 years, yeah. And but it's been a lot of fun. The guys that were just so many good things. They just come up to me and unsolicited and talk about Dad and the impact that he had on them in a lot of ways, and so it was really enjoyable for me to come back and in some way, represent him and be here, as a McDonald and so it was great. They'll talk about things like, they said no matter how mad he got, he never cussed.
No.
He'd say one of his things he used to say quite a bit was my aching back. And then some of these guys at the end of the year, when it was safe for him, I guess maybe they didn't know how he'd take it. They gave him a big bottle of Doan's pills and my aching back and stuff, and so it's really cool being able to look at it from a couple different angles. I mean, as a little kid and watching these guys and like being their biggest fan, and then now as an adult and not feeling that much different. I mean, they're just a few years older than me, but back then it was a big difference. But it's just and a bunch of successful guys, and they come back and it seems like they kind of really haven't missed a beat. It's just they're goofy with each other and they make fun of each other, and you're gonna have to get Durker there. They were talking about one of the things that he used to do, that how a lot of the football teams do the reaction drill where they mimic the guy, and they'd be like, well, they said he did that, just it was like the greatest thing in his life. And they had him do it the other night at dinner, and so you may have to have him demo for your camera.
That's a good idea. We're gonna have him do that.
Oh, I think he'll do it. If you get those guys with him, I mean, if they egg him on a little bit, he'll do it.
Well, I always say that some of my best buddies in the world are guys I played football with, and I think that doesn't change for anyone.
Oh, it's like I told those the team the other day. I said, I played here, but then I played baseball in college. I've coached for like 40 years and all that. And I said, but I've never enjoyed anything more than high school football. And just the camaraderie, the emotion, it's just those guys, your team's family. I told those guys, I said, you're family to our family, and so
sure.
But yeah, it's great.
I remember listening to Bobby April speak, and you guys probably know who Bobby April is, but he's an NFL coach, and he spoke one time, and he said, I've played high school football, I've played college football, I've played pro football, I've coached in the NFL now for 10 years, and he said, whenever we get back together as a group of guys and we all start to talk about things, he said, we don't talk about any of those. We talk about our high school days. Yeah. Because, those are the ones
who doesn't
that set us in motion.
Yeah. You get old and you got to relive those days. Keeps you young. And like you said, you create a lot of memories, a lot of relationships. Now, you played football. Your dad was your coach. How did that go, your experience as a dad, as a coach? Because sometimes they're a little bit harder on their kids, but,
I felt like it went as well as it could have. Now, one thing, Dad handled the quarterbacks and the backs, and I was never really directly under Dad, and I thought of this the other day because I've heard people say different things, and I don't remember. I never really called him. People say, well, what did you call him on field? I was like, well, I really didn't call him anything. I didn't call him Dad because that sounded goofy, but I thought calling him Coach, everybody knew he was my dad, so it sounded like you're trying to be sneaky or something. I just get his attention or something if there was some reason, but I hate to say it, it would be really, really tough if you were playing for your dad, and it was borderline whether you ought to be playing. You know, I mean, if there's 2 or 3 guys fighting for one position or something like that, and I mean that would be tough. It'd be tough on the coach. It'd be tough on the kid. It's probably in some ways tough on the team. So,
Sure.
but anyway, it was good. I mean, we didn't really talk about it home much. You know, every Sunday afternoon, like all afternoon, he and the coaches would meet at our kitchen table. And you know, when I was younger, I might be there, and I always remember they might, you know, I'm in the far side of the room or whatever, but they'd be like, you know, well, this guy or this guy, you know, they'd never say anybody's name, like, and then I kind of started getting the hint. And then when I was a little bit older, and I could drive or whatever, you know, I'd just be out of there. I got no interest in being there, but
and throw those coaches there, names out there, Coach Shoup, Coach Derricks.
Coach Shoup and Coach Derricks were, you know, the 2 main, you know, varsity assistants, and just you know, outstanding and great friends, lifelong friends then of Dad's, and they've kept up with Mom, and just great people and great coaches. And you know, one of the things I mentioned to the group the other night is, you know, there's so many high school programs that maybe don't have one coach that's really, you know, really experienced, really knowledgeable, really lives it. And to have, you know, 3 out of 3 back then is, you know, it was pretty unusual and you know, and beneficial for the program.
I went to a clinic, I don't know, it's been 8 years now, 9 years ago, and Coach Derricks spoke, and he was it was so funny to listen to him tell me about how he's going to run double dive. I mean, it's double dive, and they run double dive in 4th grade and 5th grade and 6th grade, and you're a left tackle in 4th grade, and you're a left tackle when you're a senior in high school, and you know exactly what you're doing, and he doesn't care that everybody else knows. We're running double dive. You stop it.
Well, he was a great coach, and I remember he left. I want to say it was maybe the summer before my senior year. And it tore me up, and I think it tore a lot of us up.
Is that when he went right to Geneseo?
I believe so. I believe so.
He was very successful there.
Yeah, I mean, he was very, very meticulous, just very knowledgeable, very, very prepared, just outstanding.
That's awesome, and it's great that you came back and you brought all these guys together. And I know we got.
I didn't bring them together. I was able to get in on it.
But you got a special box over there. I see they brought. I was wondering where that was.
Oh yeah, that's a trophy. That's a Big 12.
We're going to get her
trophy.
out here.
Yeah, and so yeah, that didn't work out quite like I thought. I had it. I went and I told my wife I needed to have something. I need to be a little theatrical. I'm not theatrical, but I needed. So I put it in there and stuff, and I was going to unveil it and all. I go walking in. I was kind of late from being with the high school kids, and I go walking in. The first thing I notice is up on the table, there's a trophy sitting there. It's like there's another one. I'm like, doggone. But anyway, I pulled it out anyway. I told him, I said, man, you guys, get pictures with this. It's get group whatever. Get pictures, and I'll just get it back from you when I get ready to head back to Murray, Kentucky.
We'll have to get it out here and show it off.
Oh yeah.
Well, we have some final stats. Your dad started coaching in 1959.
Okay.
And all the way to 1979. So 20 years, overall record 90-86. It looks like 4 playoff appearances. His best season looks like 8-1 in 68, 69.
They were, 75? They were 9-1.
Yep,
and then they played at Griffin in a playoff.
That was the first play, yeah.
And that team was so good, and they just pounded people. And they went into that playoff, and Gazauskas was the all-state running back. And
He's the man.
And he was injured and didn't play at least in the first half, and played a little in the second half, but he wasn't Gazauskas. And I think we got beat like 9-7 or
close,
something like that. And it would have probably been a double-digit win with Gazauskas playing. But that was a really good team, some great players.
the injury bug got you in there.
Well, it got Gus, that's for sure. And but yeah, that one was painful for everybody. I think I was probably, I guess maybe I was a freshman in high school that year, 8th grade or something like that.
So the first year those playoffs was like then what,
somewhere
75?
in there. I'm not sure.
What year did you say that was?
That was the 9-1 record.
Yeah,
75-76.
I think that may have been the first year of it.
Might have been
the playoffs.
Yeah. Now back then, how many classes were there? I mean, we have 8 now. Was there 4?
Yeah, I know. I look at that. I'm amazed how many classes there are.
4.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Wasn't very many.
I was just.
I'm going to probably say.
I was just a kid back then.
It was probably only
hoping
4.
to make the team or whatever.
So, but yeah, with 8 classes now, it gives other schools opportunities, and some say it's a little watered down, but it's.
Yeah, I guess I can. That's an age-old argument that'll probably never be settled, but and it's that way in every state.
Yeah.
There's states that have, one classification and others that have 8 or 9, and you can make a good argument either way.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, we're, as we know, we're kind of in the trophy for everybody era, and so there's a lot of that thinking, and
I told you may know this because was your mom from down south, West Frankfort?
Well, my dad is from West Frankfort. My mom's from Tennessee. Yeah.
Well, the West Frankfort and Benton were the last 2 schools that held out and didn't get in the playoffs because that was their homecoming. They practiced for 2 weeks.
I remember one time being down there with Dad. And we went to, I was a little kid. I might have been in kindergarten or something. And we were in West Frankfort, and we went to, it was Thanksgiving. It was like a Thanksgiving game.
Thanksgiving Day. Turkey Day game.
And the Benton Rangers and the West Frankfort Redbirds. Yeah. And there's probably 6,000 people there. The little stands.
Both towns empty.
The stands, forget that. There might have been a tenth of the people in the stands, and then it's like 4 deep all the way around the field. And I remember that. That was pretty impressive.
I think they held out until, I believe it was 1983 was the...
Really?
Which seems like, so wow, that's right now. But, they held out that long and then finally gave in and said, well, we'll get in the playoffs.
Well, you could tell it was a big deal.
Oh, it was awesome.
Those towns, if I'm not mistaken, were they 7 miles apart?
Yeah, they're 6 miles apart.
Okay.
And they played, it was both teams' homecomings, and they practiced that full month to just play each other for homecoming. And I'm telling you that everyone went. That's what you did for Turkey Day. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
It's all gone now.
Yeah. Well, the McDonald name's been a kind of a staple in Lincoln for years. I know your brother coached for several years here. Your dad, he's just a Hall of Famer, and you think of Lincoln football, you think of Gene McDonald, and he had some rough seasons, and I'm sure that's tough to take, and it's hard to stick with. But 20 years of doing it, he had ups and downs, and he sounds like he was a tough man, and loved the kids, and he stuck with it.
Yeah, well, I mentioned to one of the groups, I said something. Lincoln's always had really good players. There's been times where Lincoln didn't have enough good players. And when you're the little school playing in the big conference, and football being a numbers sport. You're probably going to have some times where you've got better people, and times where you're struggling to put a good team on the field.
Definitely.
But I know Andy coached here during a time where it was pretty lean, and I know at one point, I guess when he kind of took over, it was kind of like, hey, there wasn't anybody, I think, that wanted it, and some of the guys and people kind of encouraged him to, hey, will you take it? Can you take it over and try to keep us afloat? And so hopefully the tide and the talent and the numbers and all that are coming back, and you like to see Lincoln up there successful. And I know we've bounced a little bit from conference to conference, or for a couple of years. The last few years we were in a conference that probably more schools more similar to us in football or in numbers and attendance and all. I guess we're back in the one that's the
Central State
kind
area.
of
Yeah.
the bigger one with the bigger schools again, and it's a heck of a challenge, and
better travel time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
A lot easier on us.
Yeah.
And there's nobody that you'd want out there around your son than Andy McDonald when he was coaching, I have to say, because that guy was about building character and make you a better person when you get out of that program.
Yeah, I have no doubt of that, and no doubt about that, and and we all know the way people are, and especially the way people are now, and that initially is probably a very, very important thing for a lot of people, and then at some point it's like, well, maybe that's not as important. We just need to win.
Yeah.
Or different
win at
people,
all costs.
Different people are different ways, but that's I guess that's coaching in our society in general now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win.
Oh man, people rip on. I mean, there's times I just can't believe. I mean, you watch some of these coaches, like collegiate coaches, that are icons, just the greatest in the game, and people still,
if they don't win,
they rip on them for something they disagree with, and a lot of times the people that are. Many times the people that are doing the most talking are the people that really don't know enough to know how little they know.
They don't know.
They just, if they knew, if they knew a little more, they just know they need to be quiet.
Exactly.
I know enough to not mess with electricity at my house. I know how to turn on a light switch, but I don't mess with electricity. I know how to flush the toilet, but I know enough not to be messing with plumbing. And these people, if you could, they'd be getting electrocuted and flooding their house,
Yeah. Well, it's just that day and age, and I mean, you've been around college sports for years, and now with the portal and the NILs, and it's just changed the whole complex of the game. I don't like it, but who am I? It's I like kids being held accountable, and now they can just, if they're not happy, they can pick up and leave. And that doesn't really build character, but it's just the day and age we live in, and just the way it is now. But
Rob, we want to thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
So I was checking time there. We better get some of these guys on.
All right, let's get them on here. The champions.
We're going to take a break.
Take a break. We'll come back, and we'll have the 1973 group here. Appreciate you coming in.
Right.
Rob McDonald,
safe travels. Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Nice meeting you. Let's take a commercial break. We come back. We'll have more here on the Cheap Seats on WLCN 96.3 FM.
If you're not happy with the way your home landscape looks, but not sure what you need to do or how to fix it, then it might be time to get a little help from your friends at Bees Landscaping. Their highly trained and courteous staff will do all the work that fits your style and budget, including retaining walls, patios, sidewalks, leveling and grading yards, seeding and fertilizing, or new sod installation. Bees Landscaping, 1302 State Route 10. We are making a difference.
The Heart of Memory Care consists of providing person-directed care to know and to work with each resident as an individual, and to provide them with care as unique as they are. At Copper Creek Cottages Memory Care in Lincoln, our caring, compassionate staff, enriching activities, and cottage front apartments all provide the secure, safe environment that your loved one requires. Hi, I'm Deb Mox, Administrator at Copper Creek Cottages. Let Copper Creek Cottages Memory Care be the light in your journey.
This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com.
Timber Creek Village Assisted Living understands the emotional journey of moving to a new home. That's why we work hard to make the transition as easy for you as possible. We currently have apartments available and invite you to come by and let us show you how we can provide you with a stress-free lifestyle and why Timber Creek Village is top choice for retirement living in Lincoln. You'll enjoy private apartments, 3 home-cooked meals a day, daily activities, socialization with other residents, and care centered around your individual needs. Timber Creek Village, where people become friends and friends become family.
This is Tom McCarthy for the Philadelphia Phillies, and you're listening to Cheap Seats on WLCN 96.3 FM with Joe, Jake, and Shabadoo.
Now, is that, you guys know that song or no? Well, they went to some modern.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we can do that.
Remember that.
We can do that.
All right, we're just checking in on you guys. We are now joined by 3 of the 4 co-captains from the 73 football team, and we're going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk and tell some bull stories. You guys can tell lies. It's been a long time, whatever you want to do. Right. Let's just go around the table. We'll start with you, Harley.
Harley Mullins, offensive tackle, defensive linebacker.
And you were a big boy back then, too, weren't you?
230.
230? Yeah, he's a big boy. I was always a little scared of Harley, as I should be. So I still am.
We all understand that. A few of us were scared of him, too. That was pretty big for back in those days.
Yeah,
anyway, I'm Steve.
Big boy.
Yeah, I'm Steve Larson. I played guard and linebacker.
And I'm Rich Durker. I played safety and tailback.
Yeah, they tell me that you were very talented. See, I never saw any of those games, but they tell me that Rich Durker could move. He was
I
very
could
talented.
move. I could move. I don't know if I was talented, but I could move.
Yeah, and you were a linebacker guard, and they tell me you never dirty, so you weren't ever.
I think that's a false one there. I don't think that was quite the case. But we were talking about Durker last night. You know, ran a 10 flat 100 in high school, and I told Bob Verderber at halftime last night I think he'd run a 10 flat 50 now.
Maybe on a good day.
A 10 flat 100, that's flying.
Yeah, thank you.
He had some speed.
Yeah. So do you remember like your stats? And you know, it's been a long time. You can pump them.
Oh,
a little bit,
no.
like what you rushed for, any of that, or what your tackles were, or what your pancakes were. Or...
No, don't remember any numbers.
No.
Well, Dick, you probably remember that opening game. You had a pretty good game there. You had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
right, didn't you?
2 touchdowns. I ran a pump back and had a nice run for a touchdown behind these 2 big guys. So it was fun.
The big fellas here.
Yeah.
And now we're missing the captain, so let's go ahead and make fun of him because he's not here.
Oh, well, yeah, Willis Rader was one of the co-captains, and he was a defensive starter as juniors, as the other 3 of us were. And Willie headed back up north this morning, and I guess he didn't want to be on the program, but he was a good guy. He was kind of a Z-back and cornerback. And Willie didn't always have a lot to say, but he was a pretty good performer out there on the field. So.
And he had a nickname?
We'll leave that alone.
We'll let that go. Yeah, I don't think any of the 3 of us want to hear any nicknames up here this morning. So,
so did he punt or no?
No, Dale Richart was the punter. And he was, Dale also played tight end for us. He was about 6'5", 200.
He was a big boy,
He was
too.
a big guy, yeah, played basketball as well. And I was...
Steve was the long snapper, and thank God Dale Richard was 6'5". That's all I'm going to say.
True.
Makes you a better long snapper, doesn't it?
It sure does, yeah. You just throw it back there anywhere, you get it. So.
Well, I'd like you to talk about some of the other guys on the team that aren't here that you just want to let's bring them up and talk about them.
Yeah, well, we ought to kind of go across the line.
Yeah, let's go across the line.
This team, we had the 4 returning starters on defense and none on offense. So we had to replace the whole offensive unit, which I think is the reason we were picked last in the Big 12 in the preseason by the Decatur Herald.
Good for them.
Yeah, and I think picked to win no conference games, so we kind of made them eat their words a little bit. But yeah, we had Harley was left tackle, I was a left guard. Kevin Courtwright was a junior, played center.
He's still running around town.
Yeah, he was at our reunion dinner Thursday night, and Dick Alexander, first-time starter, right guard. And then George Hartnell, right tackle, Dale Richard, tight end, Greg Peter Meyer, and Randy Seibert were the wide receivers. Tom Solansky did a heck of a job playing quarterback. We had kind of an intricate, sort of a triple option kind of attack. And Tom did a great job, handling the ball, not making many mistakes.
You guys are running triple option?
We did, yeah. I mean, Bill Yoshes was, I think, an all-state fullback the next year, and he was kind of the workhorse of our team. Probably carried, Dick, 30 times a game or so?
Yes.
Pretty much.
The dive or getting outside?
Well,
he more dived.
Even more 1, 2, 3 hole, and then occasionally he'd pitch to, Durker, Dave Kinsey played a little tailback, and Will Schrader on the wide stuff. And Tom ran the ball a fair bit too on the option, but yeah, we were kind of a 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense and a good defense.
And you mentioned Kinsey. Now he was a heck of an athlete, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mentioned Bob last night. He was a good decathlete in track.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and he went on and did that at ISU, and I think he said he's still 3rd in points.
All-time record.
All-time record at ISU. So yeah, he was a heck of an athlete.
Did they have that in high school back then, like the state?
I think they did, didn't they, Rich? I don't remember.
I don't think they did.
No, I don't think so. I think he did that like AAU and things like that, maybe. But you guys maybe talk about the defense starters. You remember them all?
Harley, go ahead.
Harley, you haven't spoken yet, so let's go.
Eric Georgie was one of our defensive tackles. Unfortunately, he was involved in a tragic accident years ago, so he's no longer with us. Hartnell was the other defensive tackle. Who was the nose guard?
We didn't have one. We just had 2 down.
Okay.
And then you and Zerkhammer were on the inside.
Inside linebackers. Steve was outside, and then the other one?
John Barr.
Okay.
John Barr, and wasn't he homecoming? He's married to the homecoming queen that year or something.
It could be. I don't. That probably was senior year. I don't know.
That might have been senior year.
Yeah.
Was John back?
Yeah.
He was
there
here
last night.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
John was back, and Jeff Joyner played, and Don Rivetter were the defensive ends. And then we had Durker, Rader, and Greg Petermeyer in the backfield on the defense.
And Petermeyer was a heck of an athlete, right?
He was quick too.
He was fast.
So you guys had a lot of speed on that team.
Yes,
we did.
It was one of our saving graces.
Yeah, we didn't score a lot, but we didn't give up a lot of points either. We had a good, strong defense.
And you had the outside linebackers were who? You mentioned Rivetter. I was going to bring him up. You guys hear from him any?
We haven't seen much of Donald since high school, but he was a first-year starter at defensive end, and did a nice job. And I think you guys know too, he got 3rd in the state as a wrestler. I was
just going to say, he's mean.
Quite an athlete. Yeah, he was a tough guy. And he did a great job that year.
Ran track too. He's quick.
Oh yeah.
Rivetter could go. Yeah, I remember that. He was. His name's up on that board still, I believe. Out there.
Yeah, I think he got the athletic award senior year for the high school. Yeah, he was a good athlete.
Well, let's kind of go through the season. So you remember all this? I remember. You do.
Yeah.
So you open up with who, and you're expected to get beat, obviously.
Springfield Landfair.
Open up with Landfair.
Yes.
And you're the underdog.
Yes. Well, we're the underdog every game.
Yeah.
So
at least for a while.
Yeah. And so I remember I ran a punt back, put us up.
Yeah.
And I think Yogi got a touchdown, and I got another touchdown, and we won.
It was actually you had two touchdowns, and it was 14-2.
14-2.
Peter Meyer intercepted a pass in the fourth quarter, ran across the end line.
Tried to run it out.
They actually ran out of the back of the end zone, and they gave him a safety on it, and the coaches weren't too happy about that because they were really wanting that shutout, So, anyway, and then the second game, we went to Jacksonville and beat them 26-0. We got a shutout that week. And
now, are you gaining some respect? Or tell us a little bit about the game.
No.
Dominate that game, 26-zip.
Oh yeah, that game was over at halftime. We put the hammer on those guys, and I remember that week. Remember Coach Mack got really mad or upset with us all week. He thought we were going around cocky after winning that first game. We'd hear that famous "my aching back" phrase that he used all the time. So, but we had a really good game there, and then the Bloomington game was probably the key. Harley, why don't you talk about that Bloomington game?
Well, the Bloomington game, actually go back a little before that, right during our 3 triple sessions before school started. We did triples, and then one day we're out at practice, and then this school bus pulls up. Now we're at practice. His bus pulls up, Bloomington, and here they are. They brought their team down, and we scrimmaged out there
in full pads.
On the full pads on the practice field. We scrimmaged them. We didn't do real well. They kind of handled us around some. So
some?
Come on. And then come the third game of the season, here we were up at Bloomington, and it was a very tough game. We was back and forth pretty good, barely score.
Low scoring game,
yeah.
Well, first of all, Bloomington scored and got a touchdown and was up 7-0 at half.
That's right.
We almost scored before half, and then we just got shut out right down at the end.
Yeah, they got hammered trying to go off tackle, and we were shut out at half. And then the key was Willis Rader returned that punt for a touchdown in the third quarter.
There you go, the spark you needed.
Yep.
So we were down 7-6, and then I think we probably had one of the most important 2-point plays of the year following that, which Bill Yoshis ended up taking it in for 2. We went up 8-7, and that score held until the last play of the game.
Almost the last play of the game.
When Durker intercepted a pass and ran it back all the way.
Ran it in?
Yep,
yeah.
Nice. Pick 6, baby.
So 2 special team scores, and you win.
That's it, and lots of good defense. And, I think you guys remember the Bloomington coach in the Pantograph was quoted the next morning as saying that Lincoln was at least 5 times better than when we scrimmaged them 4 weeks ago.
Right.
So, we kind of came a long way after getting knocked around that day in that scrimmage. So
Coach Mack knew what he was doing, bringing those guys down.
Yeah, that was
fired us up.
It got our attention, I think,
And back then, you guys weren't you guys all 2-point conversions, no extra points?
We didn't have a kicker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how the decision was made.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so we ran those 2-pointers. I bet we converted maybe 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3 as through the course of the year. So kind of worked out. But
so you got to be getting a little respect now. You're 3-0.
Yeah, I think at that point, don't you think, Dick? We were kind of starting to pay attention. On the next game, we lost a non-conference game to Rantoul. We had a couple of big-time players who went on to play in college. And I was at home, and then let's see, who was after that? It was Mattoon, a homecoming game. And yeah, we beat Mattoon 28-8. Went up to Urbana, lost our only conference game there. We scored, I think, 3 minutes to go in the game, went up 16-14, and then they came down and scored on us near the end of the game and won that one.
Took it away at the end.
Yeah. And then we had the last 3 games. Dick, once you remember the 3?
Springfield High.
Yeah.
And beat them 26-24, something like that. It was close.
Yeah, 30.
So we're far enough in the season, though. You got to have that other team out there that's, 4-0, 5-0. Who's favored to win the conference then?
Well,
Danville probably.
Probably Danville.
Yeah.
And you haven't got to them yet.
No,
we hadn't got to them yet. They were the next to last game. And that was a kind of a defensive slugfest. I think it was 14-6 at the end, and then that put us in position for the final with Stephen Decatur, which kind of turned out to be the championship game.
Yep.
So you took care of Danville, and that moved you into. So you're 7-1.
We were 6-2 at that time. We had lost to Rantoul and Urbana. Rantoul was a non-conference game, and so yeah, we played Stephen Decatur at home.
It was cold. Oh my God!
It snowed.
It snowed that week.
It snowed that week before the game. They took people out and they broomed the snow off the field for us.
Really?
To play.
Oh, it's cold.
Now, is that you were how late into October by?
No, we're in November.
You're in November.
Yeah. I think
it didn't start as early back then.
Right.
There were no playoffs.
There's no playoffs
that year. We were I think the last year before the playoffs started, so it went a little deeper into November, and I think at the end of that game it was like 13 degrees or something. 12, 13
it was not good.
Yeah.
Football's the only sport you start and you're sweating and it's a mess, and when you get done, you're freezing.
Well, coming out at halftime, I remember was all sweaty and come out, hit that cold air. It took a while to get it going again, but
well, tell us about that game.
You guys remember much about it?
So you know that if you win this game,
we're
you
going
can be co-conference champs.
Well, I'll tell you, first thing I remember is Coach Mack keeping the seniors in the locker room, sending everybody else out, and he kind of went around and talked to each of us individually, and I think he said, you guys are champions, that you deserve to go out as champions, and kind of made a pretty good little pep rally talk there, and got us pretty fired up. But
and let's not forget that we had the chance to do something no other team in 32 years ever did.
Mm-hmm.
So we're playing for the first Lincoln football championship in 32 years at that time. So that was pretty cool.
But I think it was, wasn't it 8-6 at halftime, I believe, and we got the kickoff in the third quarter, and we went down and scored, and we used 10 minutes of the clock. It was just little 3-4 yard runs and converted, Harley, 3 or 4 fourth down plays, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And we scored and went up there, and that's kind of where it ended. It was a defensive battle after that, and had a big pep rally in the gym afterwards. That was a big night.
It was
for all of us.
Great night.
Yeah.
It's a great night. Is there in the most everybody was running the football back then, right? We didn't have this spread offense and throwing it everywhere and all that.
Yeah, you didn't see too much of that. Springfield threw quite a bit. They had a really good quarterback, but that was kind of a rarity back in those days. A lot of running the ball.
So when you look back at that game, what was the turning point? And you know you're going to be conference champs.
I think it was that 10-minute drive was the turning point. I mean, we just started running the ball and just grinded that clock out, and they just couldn't stop us going down the field.
Yep.
And when you take off 10 minutes of a quarter, it kind of changed the momentum, that's for sure.
So Coach Derrick, was he doing defense and then
Coach Derrick was the lineman coach.
Yeah, he was
the line coach.
He had the offensive, defensive line, and linebackers, and then Coach Shoup had the backs.
And both of them did an excellent job, and of course, Coach McDonald did an excellent job, so getting us all there. And
oh, yeah, Coach Mack was great, just a great person, and like I said last night, kind of a tough but fair-minded, and the three of those coaches really got us motivated that year, and the two assistants, you guys remember, scouted 4 teams each, and they put great scouting reports together, and I think that really set us up.
Yeah, the scouting reports were really good, detailed. We'd know what plays the teams were coming with. They had them mapped out, so we practiced during the week. Offense would play, they'd show us their defensive stuff and then switch it around so we knew their plays, where they'd go. It made a big difference for us, I think.
Oh, it did, yeah.
And they had to take the time to travel there and write all that down.
Right.
You weren't filming it.
No.
And there's all handwritten notes.
Yeah, we had a copy. One of those I had kept for some reason, and that was for the last game. and so it was all handwritten, and then mimeograph. One of those little purple ink machines that.
You still have one of those? That's cool.
Oh no! I tell you, it kind of points to how long ago that was. I think Coach Mack's Social Security number only had 2 digits. How long ago it was,
Well, you're pushing on it there, aren't you? Yeah, see, there is when you look back at all of that, that's got to be the highlight of your high school careers, weren't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a highlight of our lives.
Yeah. When you look back at it,
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
And how important was it to have those 3 coaches in your lives, like now? I mean, as it took you through life, those guys that taught you the solid foundations of things, and I know Coach Mack was big on no profanity.
Yeah, Coach Mack, you never heard him say a 4-letter word, and like I said, just
maybe Derek's.
Once in a while.
I think I heard Derek say something.
Yeah, but Coach Mack was just a great guy, a great coach, and I remember Rob. He was so happy that night we got that trophy, and there was a picture of Coach Mack and your mom on the front page of the Lincoln Courier that next morning, Saturday morning, and he had been there since I think 59 maybe as head coach, 57 somewhere in there, and. So getting that first one for Coach Mack was a big deal. But, those 3 coaches, Shoop, Derricks, and Coach Mack were just great guys, great people, and, meant a lot to us.
There had to be some other coaches on staff.
Well, Ronnie Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie Ross.
Great Ronnie Ross. He's still wandering around town.
Oh, yeah. We saw him Thursday night.
Oh, he came out?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We had Floyd B. and Coach Ross for our freshman coaches.
Yeah.
And that's where it started.
I was going to say, a couple tough guys.
Oh, yeah. We did wind sprints I think we did 30-some one night.
Oh, we usually did 30-hundreds after practice, and then
it was by far physically probably the hardest year.
You think so?
Running and stuff. Yeah.
Freshmen?
Oh, they ran us to death.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Well, I remember Coach Ross. Remember we'd get on our backs and do those calisthenics,
leg lifts, and things.
And Ross would go down the line, step on everybody's stomach on the way down.
Walk right down the line. Everybody's laying there with their legs up in the air.
Yeah.
And he also did a little recruiting for wrestling, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he and Floyd B.
Floyd did. Coach B did.
He was on everybody to get on that wrestling team.
He didn't want me, though.
Well, there were limitations.
It's pretty good stuff. I'm glad you guys all. You say you had about 30 that got to come back.
Yeah, we had a really great dinner out at the Legion Thursday night, and we had some game films we got to watch.
Yep.
And
and those are reel to reel, right? Back when?
Yeah, reel to reel. Yeah.
Yeah. There was some reality checks.
Like I said, that was before the Dead Stevens
I didn't remember some of those plays. I know that.
Were they? How good was the videotape? I just was curious off of. It's real shady.
A couple of them were pretty good, and there were some were a little dark, but we could pick people.
Yeah, you knew who you were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was up eyeballing their own performance, I think, a little bit. But yeah, it was a lot of fun watching some of those movies.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're glad you guys came to see us today.
Well, thanks for having us.
You guys get back to Lincoln much? Well, you do. You guys get back to Lincoln much? Or?
Not a whole lot anymore, but it was great to be out at the field last night, see a win, and the Lincoln team's got some big linemen and good backs, and
got some talent.
So we're excited for the rest of their season.
Right. We're hoping they can make a run and get in here.
Yeah, amen. It'd be great to see them in the playoffs.
2 victories left.
Yeah.
All right.
More to go.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming on and visiting with us and hanging around Lincoln. Great stories. And congratulations. There's your trophy. We should get you out front with it, right? Holding it up and something.
We did a little bit of that last night at the that trophy's probably worn out, I think. So.
Yeah, you got to walk out at halftime or something, didn't you?
At the end of the first quarter, they introduced us. And we were in the parade yesterday on a fire engine, and thank God nobody fell off and got hurt. So,
life is good.
Yeah, life is good, right?
All good, yeah.
We're all vertical still.
Well, you can grab some Medicare. You're all right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, we were all glad we didn't have to walk the parade route. How many would have been at the end of the route? Who knows?
Yeah.
Some of them would have had to peel off along the way.
Well, I'll tell you, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
And thanks for stopping by and visiting with us. And that's going to do it for the Cheap Seats. We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln and online at merealty.com. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.